control. Man, that looks great.
Jets! Oh my God, it's so beautiful. 78 degrees, Jets football, and we're winning. That's what's going on today. That's why everybody's so psyched. This isn't no happenstance. This is a guarantee, just like Joe Namath said. See that?
There are few things in life you cannot put a price on. Loyalty, tradition, fierce passion. Today is a gigantic family reunion because finally, they're back.
Violent vertical edge setter.
I see some gas on the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody.
Dig, drop. You're finished.
Hey, first down. This is a weird kid. Worse than that side.
Yeah, epic. What an epic intro. What's up, everybody? Green Bean back with you. Green face. I decided to go green tonight. Hope you like it. Hope the internet's good. Hope everything's going well. And this is the After Hours Jets Fest where we slow it down. We settle down a little bit and we talk about whatever we want to talk about. We go long form, we go short form. But the way to do it is to let me know what you want to talk about in the chat. I will do my absolute best to get to as many as I can. You know, I talk about one and then 100 more come, so it's hard to do, but I do my best. If you'd like to make sure your comment gets through or question, super chats are always appreciated. Thank you in advance for anyone who sends one of those. And let's get into this. Kevin Vaffadoust. What's up, buddy? He says, Yeboah is a beast. That's to somebody else, but I agree, man. See, like the thing with Yeboah, you guys know, there were a few tight ends I really liked in this draft. The only one I liked after Kyle Pitts, the only one I liked at the top end was Pat Freiermuth. But then there were other guys that I liked throughout the draft, and Kenny Yeboah, Nick Eubanks, Tony Poljan, some of those guys, Trey McKitty. So there were those guys that I liked, and I was so happy to get Kenny Yeboah. But I think while I don't agree with every tact that the staff has taken, I do like the Kenny Yeboah thing. They cut him, brought him on the practice squad. He was there for, half the season. Then he made the 53. He's been making an impact on special teams, doing well there. We had some injuries. He cracks the starting lineup in the offense, and he performed, right? Last 2 games of the season, just seeing him wrap up this nice developmental progressive year for a rookie. It's nice to see him be able to do that. 2 catches for however many yards, but it's nice. And I like that. And I like that he has this experience now, a year in the system. He'll have his NFL training, his NFL offseason and training camp. He'll come in and he'll be able to compete. My thoughts is that he's the second, at best, probably the third tight end next year. And I think that's wonderful. I love me some Kenny Yeboah, and I like what they're doing. Braden Bethwaite is here. And he says this, and I agree. He says, competitive football with a depleted roster against the Super Bowl champs. Spectacular. But they don't want us to know about that, Braden. What they want us to know about is, hey, Zach Wilson's selfish, or hey, Denzel Mims got 0 snaps. That's what they want us to talk about. Why? Because they know it gets us bent out of shape. That's it. That's the only reason. And look, somebody said it in the last stream. Of course, everything is results oriented, right? Everything. Like my YouTube channel doesn't do anything unless people come on and make comments and all that sort of stuff. But you can do that the right way, not going for the jugular. Like there's a saying in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. So what does that mean? You got all these new journalists, all the young, aggressive, talent in the journalism field. They're all looking for the blood. They're all looking for the drama. Why? Because that's what's going to get the money. And I hate that. You can do a good job. You can tell the truth. You can do all this stuff without being a shitbag. You like it? So, Braden's good to see you, buddy. Ryan Anatori. Antonori. Sorry. Antonori's here. Utah Bullets. Nick Russo. Right on, man. Wat2K. Hey, what's up, Wat2K? It's good to see you guys. Paris is here. Let's see what he's saying. He said, it would be nice to get revenge against the Bills, but I don't want to risk having the Giants draft ahead of the Jets. Let's hope we can compete with our depleted roster and Zach Wilson has a good game. I told you guys, Paris, I'll tell you, that I'm not rooting for losses this year. I'm not. I'm rooting for victory. I'm rooting for these guys to have as many positives as they possibly can this season. I really am. That said, if we beat them, it just means the Pats get the division. If we lose, then the Bills get, I like what you said. I want to see Zach Wilson throw for his first game for 300 yards. I want to see everybody have a good day, and I won't be upset if we lose. How's that? Because now this is not changing anything. I'm not rooting for a loss. I'm going to be psyched and rooting for the win, but I won't be upset if they lose. I think that's how I'm going to choose to say it. Owen is here. Kyle Ornsby's here. No Name is here. What's up with you, buddy? How about your boy, Yeboah? Right on, man. Right on. Liam, what's up, Liam? Yeah, I got a whole bunch of people, man. James Thrice, Total Real Elijah Moore. That's right. Ant Jets is here. New York Jets fan 4. You like that intro? I do too, man. I'm happy. And for a guy like myself, I'm literally just trying to figure it out there, guys. I'm toying around with all these programs and software and platforms. I like it. I think I did okay, right? I think I did okay. Pixel Bean, am I bad? Is it bad, guys? Tell me. Underwater? Really? Is it that bad? I should be good. It said I was good. Let me see. All right, let me get to. I see a super chat. Benji Unger. Hopefully it gets better, man. I'm sorry if it's bad. If it's no good, then we'll end early. My internet should be good because the amusement park, the RV park is going to sleep. So then, I get more strength, more signal strength when that happens. Benji Unger, thank you, sir. He says, you got to convince Matt about Kyle Hamilton. 6 to 8 interceptions a year, better than sacks. I agree. You know what it is? I think Matt has a really good case. This is the thing, Benji, is that he's talking about in this particular defense, it's predicated on pressure up front. That's the pressure up front with the linebackers backing up the front 4. That's really what the defense is predicated on. If there's pressure up front, the cornerbacks, defensive backs, they have less stress on them and they don't have to cover as long and all that sort of stuff. And the truth is I prefer that rather than the Rex Ryan deal was cornerbacks giving the defensive line time to get to the quarterback. And I get that too, but I prefer pass rush. So I do understand it. Safety is not as dramatically important as maybe in some other defensive systems. That said, I think having the pass rush and the ball hawking safety that can cover the whole field alongside of Ashton Davis, I think would be amazing, man. And the truth is we don't have any. We have no safeties. I mean, look, Elijah Riley, great story. I'm with him. If he stays on the roster, 4th string safety, special teams, great. I'm rooting for him. You need those guys too. But I don't want to see Elijah Riley out there starting. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. So I don't think I'm convincing Matt. I've had numerous discussions with him, off air, so to speak. He ain't biting. Especially when you look at Calvin Pryor and Jamal Adams, man. Oh, were you saying I'm underwater because I'm green? Is that what it was? Hopefully that's what it was. That would be good. That'd be better because I think the internet should be good. I did a speed test. I was looking good. But yeah, so I do understand it. I'm a big Hamilton guy. I mean, the injuries freak me out, though. I'll be real honest. I said it in the draft. I mean, on the previous in the previous stream, that I really don't want to take any injury-prone free agents, and that should apply to the draft too. The only benefit there is that we're talking about super young guys that are more likely to heal and not get injured again. But there's an argument to be made that you shouldn't be using your top your top pick in the first round. You shouldn't be using it on a guy that's injured. And I do support that. Kyle Hamilton is special in my opinion. So I bend a little bit. Cadoza, what's up, buddy? He says, hit that like button nice and early. I would appreciate that. That's right, guys. Don't forget the easiest way to support a guy like myself on YouTube is that like button. And you can hit the subscribe button. That's another big one. And then watching videos till there's me out there, and it gets me exposure. As you guys know, I just applied for a job with the New York Jets. Did you hear that? What do you think of that? Think I should get it? I think I should get it. I told them I'm tailor-made for this job. But we'll see. I travel a lot, so I don't know. Mike Kaz, Jets all time. He says, I do enjoy listening to you because I learn a different perspective every time. Thank you, my fellow Jets. Right on, Mike. Well, that's my gig. That's my gig. I'm always trying to look for the other perspective, and that's my training, Mike. Like my job as an addiction therapist and then ultimately as a director of addiction programs. My job was always to find the solution that nobody was seeing. That's my job. It's my expertise, if you will. So applying it to the Jets, it's like, look, I was an angry young man. I was in my 20s in that stadium throwing beer bottles around and shit. I did it. So I made it through that, and I'm on the other side, and I'm like, let's do this outlook. So let's see. I'm going to scroll down and catch up a little bit here. I'm way up top. Edward Ziff, thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says, so if all good edge rushers are gone, do we cut bait, fill everything else needed, and get edge in 2023? I think we should still get one. But look, here's how I see it right now. All right. And this can change. Don't forget, everything can change. We have lots to see in the combine. We still got some games to go, all that sort of stuff. Pro days and blah, blah, blah. Senior Bowl. All right. So when you look at the way a draft falls, like what a draft is giving you, what's there for the taking, it's really smart to utilize the strengths of the draft, not to grab the one offensive lineman that's rated a little bit higher, but in a strong offensive lineman draft, he would be 4th or 5th. You know what I mean? And a lot of teams do that. Mike McCagden liked to do that. He didn't understand. Joe Douglas, on the other hand, like when I see a guy who didn't grab a tight end last year from his draft picks, and didn't grab a safety. He grabbed safeties, but they were transitioning to linebacker, right? So he didn't really grab a safety and he didn't grab a tight end. And then it just so happens that this year's tight end class is considered to be very strong. This year's safety class, the word on the street is that this is potentially the strongest safety class in almost 20 years. So in my brain, now this is my positive side thinking, talking, but in my brain, it makes me think that Joe Douglas is paying attention to what the drafts have. Why am I going to go for the tight end this year when I think the 3rd best tight end in this year's draft is the 8th best tight end in next year's draft? Hypothetically. So that makes sense to me. So he got a 1-year guy, Tyler Kroft. He took an undrafted free agent. We'll develop him. He had, Ryan Griffin already under contract. He's got Daniel Brown. So he's like, I'm just going to fill this role for this year. I'm going to develop one young kid, see how he goes. And he's developing. Then next year in a strong tight end class, I'm going to grab one. Same thing goes with Safety. Look at the way we handled Marcus May, which in hindsight was the best possible way to handle it, right? All we heard was the news from the agent. Oh, the Jets are this, the Jets are that. Joe Douglas is the worst GM in football, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, they were hiding a DUI charge, right? And everything else. So, and then obviously the injury. But if you look at the way Joe Douglas could have been looking at that, which is, I like Marcus May. I'd like to retain him. I already have him for 2 years with the franchise tags, a total of $23 million. If I can get him for less than that, I'll do it. But he didn't feel the urgency to bend toward their demands, because this year's safety class happens to be the strongest safety class in many, many years. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if that's really happening or not, but it leads me that way, to thinking that way. So when you talk about the edge rushers, Ed, if we can't get one of those top 2, maybe top 3 edge rushers up top, I'm thinking that there's nobody up there, unless he loves Kyle Hamilton. There's nobody up there that's going to override a potential trade back. So if somebody's calling for number 4, Thibodeau, Hutchinson, and even Karlaftis are off the board. Yeah, you can take Evan Neal. Yeah, you can take, like, let's say you don't like Kyle Hamilton. The injury spooks you. You can take Evan Neal. You can take Linderbaum. You can take a wide receiver. You can do anything you want. But somebody's calling and they want to give you a second and a third to go down 3 spots, 4 spots, something like that. So you start entertaining that, because there's no edge rusher that is premium. Now you have the Ojabos, you have the Jacksons, you got Enigbear or Barre, forget how to say it. He's one I like. I like him. I actually like him as a player, but you're not going to use a first round pick on him. So maybe they're like, all right, well, we're going to get our edge rusher in the second, but I'm going to use this draft capital now for its value, because the draft in this year's draft, the value at edge rusher is way up top. It's unbelievable to think that it's realistic that 3 edge rushers can go in the first 3 picks. I was just, I want to say argument, but I was in a discussion with somebody maybe 2 months ago, and I said he was nuts to think that 3 edge rushers are going top 10. I said, no way. I was dead wrong. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It could go the other way, but now I'm thinking it's realistic. So I think if the edge rushers, let's say we're at pick 4, and the first 3 picks are the 3 edge rushers, and we don't want Kyle Hamilton because of injuries or whatever. What do you do? What do you do? You got to see where your value is. If Ojabo's somebody you like, if Drake Jackson's somebody you like, and there's a few more. But you like him in the second, you bounce down, you take the highest guy on your board at a position of need. You don't take the defensive tackle. But if you want to take Neal, if you want to take one of the wide receivers, say, screw it. All right, we're getting Zach a toy. So that's the way. I don't know if I'd wait till next year to get any, but maybe you use a 3rd round pick instead of the 1st. Make sense? Awesome. Thanks, Paris. More bandwidth. Nice. Yeah, bandwidth. What'd I say? What did I say? Did I say a bad word? A stupid word? Not bad. All right, I'm going to try to catch up here. I'm going to go I'm way up top. Okay. Let's see what you got here. Riley Wilson. What's up, Riley? He says, if there is one player I hope we walk out of the draft with, it's Jordan Battle. See, and that's the thing. Jordan Battle doesn't have quite the upside as a Kyle Hamilton. But, dude, if you can get, let's say you get Aiden Hutchinson up top, and then you get Wilson, the wide receiver, up top. And then your first, 2nd round pick, Jordan Battle, sitting there. Maybe your second, however you see it. Coming out with Jordan Battle is a fantastic consolation prize. Now, I think that way about Isaiah Polamau, but I think he's a mid-round pick, 4th, 5th. But I would love to leave this draft with him. I felt the same way about Kenny Willekes 2 years ago. I loved him. It was a guy, I liked Patty Fisher in this year's draft as a linebacker. Guys that you don't think are necessarily going to come in and dominate right away, but they got what it takes. You know it. If it's first year, great. If it's second year, great. Third year, fantastic. But there's guys you want on your team, and I get that. I get it. So he's your fave, huh? I got a few. I'm really liking. Well, let me see. A guy I'd like to leave the draft with is Charlie Kolar. Now, I've seen him mocked anywhere from the 6th round all the way to the 2nd round. Now, where I think Charlie Kolar is going to end up going, it depends on the combine. But as I stand right now, I think Charlie Kolar is a 3rd, potentially early 4th round pick. That's what I think. And I love him. I love him. If we can get like a Trey McBride in the 2nd, and then get a Charlie Kolar in the 4th, and just bypass the free agent tight end, just screw it. We're going young. We already have Kenny Yeboah. You keep Brian Grip or Daniel Brown, just somebody here that's a vet, and you let Ron Middleton go to work. You know what I mean? But I get it. I like Jordan Battle, man. Guys, I really want to tell you, Dom C., who's writing articles for me every week on my website, you really should give them a read, man. They're excellent. They're short. They're really enjoyable. His writing style is fun. And it's on my website, GreenBeanjetsfan.com. And he did the safeties the first week. He did tight ends this last week. And he's working on edge rushers for this week. And he's breaking down like five players or so. And again, he's doing some of the top names. He's doing a mid-round pick and somebody who might be a sleeper. And it's like, if you want to learn about these guys, he does all the research for you. It's great. So anyway, I highly recommend that. And we're trying to add a lot more of that content to my webpage. And I got to start my writing again too. I had a few blogs and I just fell off the planet. So I got to try to get that too. Tony G says JD has his respect. Yeah, man, me too. Like, look, if he blows this draft up like negatively and like it just 9 busts, and we'd see it and we're like, why the hell is he picking Charles Cross with number 4 overall? That kind of stuff. Maybe my feelings would be different. But let me tell you, even though the 2020 draft class is not looking fantastic because of all the injuries and everything else, and Mims and whatever's going on there, I loved the logic of it. It made so much sense to me, man. Left tackle with your first pick, 6'3", 438 wide receiver with the second pick. Now the safety was weird, but we didn't know that he knew he was trading Jamal Adams already. Let's be real. He knew it. Jamal Adams was not long for this team. He kept the company line. Jamal's a stud, Jet for life, blah, 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 blah. But he knew. So he got a safety in the house while that was happening. Knew he still had Marcus May. And then obviously the 4th round pick of James Morgan, nobody liked that pick. But the rest of the picks made sense. He got a 3rd round edge rusher that was highly regarded. The problem with him was injury. And that's what we've seen. But then you get a 4th round tackle converting to guard, who would be good if he didn't get that neck injury. I'm telling you, he would have been our starting right guard. I know it. They were going to give him every opportunity to do it. Now, I can't prove that. But anyway, the draft made a ton of sense. Made so much sense. And then last year's draft, while it was definitely a bunch of players that we didn't know all that well, like who the hell was talking about Pinnock or, Jamie and Sherwood? He wasn't on many people's radar because he was listed as a safety. Now, Hamza Nasruddin was on a lot of our radars. But, Brandon Eccles, we weren't talking about that guy. So he picked a bunch of guys that maybe we didn't know. But when you look at the logic, I know a lot of my friends that I talk to, Jets fans like you guys, they were like, we should have taken another offensive lineman. And I totally get it. And I was with that. I was on that tip. I wanted a linebacker, and I wanted a tight end, and I wanted another O-lineman. When you look at it, we had Cam Clark, Alex Lewis, Greg Van Roten, Dan Feeney, all battling for that job because AVT, and we used our 1st round pick on a guard. So Conversely, we had no cornerbacks. We had Blesson Austin and Bryce Hall. That was it. So it made sense to bring in the cornerbacks like that through the draft because they didn't want to go pay money for an aging free agent guy. You know what I'm saying? So you can disagree, but as far as the logic, it makes tons of sense. And that's what I like about this guy. He makes sense to me. Like I would watch Mike Maccagnan's drafts. And look, like I said, I supported Mike Maccagnan too long, because in my head, it was Bowles. Like he was trying to get Bowles, his types of players. When I look at guys like Darren Lee or Jamal Adams or Marcus, Jamal and Marcus, two rounds with safeties. In my brain, I'm thinking this is what Bowles wants. The guy's trying to get Bowles his hybrid players and all that kind of stuff. More defensive tackles after drafting a quarterback and blah, blah. But then Mike Maccagnan had that one draft without Bowles. And I was so excited. I said, yo, guys, you'll see. This is going to be the best draft going. It was the worst draft that I'd ever seen. It was worse than the Idzik 12. It made no sense to me. We had a quarterback going into his second year with one of the worst offensive lines in the league. He waits till the late third round to grab a lineman, and he trades his seventh to move up one spot to get it. Made no sense. And then he gets a tight end. He gets another defensive tackle. He took Ja'Kai Polite. It just made no sense. Then using your fifth round pick on an perpetually injured linebacker, Blake Cashman, I was like, what the hell is that? And then his last pick, he took Blesson Austin, who had lost his 2 previous seasons to knee injuries. Like I was just a mess after that. I couldn't believe what we were seeing. Right, buddy? Remember that draft? We watched it.
I mean, I only really remember the Quinnen pick.
You only remember Quinnen? My son came out of the darkness. He just walked out of the room. But anyway, so when Joe Douglas is going, Tony, it just makes sense to me. Now, I don't agree with every pick, but it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. That's what I like.
I mean, we did have Guidry.
No, Guidry was that. Oh, yeah, yes. No, fair enough. Fair point. Technically speaking, we did have the 2 undrafted free agents. We had Javelin Guidry and Lamar Jackson. So that's a good point. It's a good point. But they were. What?
Lamar Jackson can't play man when somebody burns him.
Yeah. Well, Lamar Jackson, it's taken Lamar Jackson all year just to get over that one play with Henry Ruggs. So, all right, let me continue here. GreenBean, how do you feel about Ruckert in the 4th? Long Island kid who can play in front of his family every week. That could be a great motivator. I don't think Ruckert's lasting until the 4th, Brian. I would love Jeremy Ruckert. Like, if you can't get Trey McBride, in my opinion, like I like Wiedermeyer and I like Jeremy Ruckert. Dude, I watched Jeremy Ruckert. I watched most of their games last year. Maybe like more than half of Ohio State's games. And let me tell you something. Justin Fields leaned on Ruckert. Whenever there was a 3rd and long or they needed the first, it was Ruckert, man. Olave, of course, but Ruckert was his safety blanket. And he did such a good job. And he's a good blocker. And he's having another good year. I would love to leave that draft with Ruckert. Love it. And if he was the only tight end we took, I would be happy with that. Like I said, I would rather a nice premium tight end up top and then like a mid-late round pick-ish later. I want that guy to be Charlie Kolar. But if we just picked Ruckert and Charlie Kolar or Trey McBride and Ruckert, I would be fantastic. I love Ruckert. I think he's good.
I remember that one hit in the championship game against Clemson. Do you remember that? Like he got absolutely creamed.
Crushed. Yeah.
I think there's one play where the guy ripped his helmet off and he kept on running.
Yeah, he don't care. Ruckert's a man. Ruckert's a man. I like men. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Zach got his helmet ripped off and he kept playing? You know what I mean? He's running. There's all 300-pound guys trying to kill him, and he's still running around with the ball. It's like, take it. I'm going. I like that. I like men. I like men that Their shoe falls off, they keep going. I like men that get their face smashed in and the play's still going on, they keep going. I like men that when they make the sack and they know if it fumbles because they're paying attention rather than jumping up before they even see anything. Yeah, look at me, whittly dee, and the ball's rolling around. I hate that. Hate it. I fucking hate it. Depressed Jets fan says 3 out of 4 first and second round picks should be all toward the defense. Now, that's the way I'm leaning, DJF, right? That's the way I'm leaning. But I wouldn't be upset if they decide to go edge. Like, let's say one of the top 2 edge rushers falls to us. Let's say the Texans win this week and we're at 3. Jaguars take Evan Neal. Detroit Lions take Aiden Hutchinson, and Thibodeau's right there. You grab them, okay? And then if they really wanted to go wide receiver right there, like maybe even trade back a touch, somebody's coming up for the quarterback, you trade back 4 spots, and you grab a wide receiver and gain a first next year or a second next, whatever. You drop back and you grab Wilson. And then in the second round, they go with Trey McBride and Brandon Smith or Christian Harris or something like that. Are you going to be upset? I wouldn't. It's not what I want. It's not what I'm thinking should happen. But damn it, man. If we go ahead and get a premium edge rusher and then get a linebacker, a young linebacker that's to pair with CJ Mosley. You want Quincy Williams to come in? Great. He comes in the 4-3. You know what I mean? He spells guy, whatever. But you got those starting 2 linebackers that Salah likes. CJ Mosley with somebody that can keep up with him and take the other half of the field. Oh, I miss the days of animal linebackers. One more comment from Teen Bean. What's he saying?
I'm not so sure that the Lions would go edge with their first pick.
Why? What do you think?
Go wide receiver.
Why?
Because they do not have any notable wide receivers on their team, and not like I think that their number 1 guy right now is Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. They need it. First of all, their coach is kind of an aggressive animal, old school football guy. Aiden Hutchinson is that. He plays football for a Michigan school, right? So he's right there. It's the whole city loves him and everything, and he's a complete animal, and he's better than the wide receiver. Like he's a better edge rusher than any wide receiver is wide receiver in this draft. So that's what I think. I'd love it if they went wide receiver. I don't think they're gonna. I think they'd go quarterback before they went wide receiver. All right, buddy. Let me do my thing. Have a good night, bud.
You too, man.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to catch up again. You guys are just talking. Holy cow, so many. All right, let's see what's in. David Gans, in GreenBean we trust. Yeah, man. Thank you, David. I trust me as well. I trust me. What are you disagreeing with, Friggle? Maybe something else somebody said in there. So it all depends on value. I agree. JD is all about value. He won't get locked into a position where if the value's gone, he's not going to stick with it because it's the position. He's gonna go where the value goes. Like, you guys know the way that this works is they establish their draft board, right? So they have tiers, let's call them. And they'll have their first round grades in order. Now, but they'll even within the first round grades, they'll have little pockets. So they'll have 3 pockets or categories within the first round grades. So let's say it's Thibodeau, Hutchinson, Hamilton. If any, that's the top category in their first round grades. If any one of them are there, they're taking them because the next tier is Wilson, Neal. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to take Neal while one of their top guys is still there. Make sense? That's how they do it. And forgive me if I'm not explaining it perfectly, but that's how it goes. So like that's why when you make a trade back, you look at the way your board sits. Let's say you have 3 guys sitting there in the tier you're in. You're up to pick. Somebody wants you to trade back 10 spots. You have 3 guys on that tier that you would be totally fine with taking because you have them rated the same. They're in that same category. So you look at it, you go, okay, they want me to slide back 10 spots. I have 3 guys here. Then you look at the likelihood of the teams that are picking, and you weigh it all out. The teams that are picking, I want a wide receiver. I have 3 of them right here that would all be fine. I'd be happy with any one of them. And I look at the next 10 teams. 6 of them there's no way they're taking a wide receiver. 3 of them are likely and 1 is. So that means more than likely 2 wide receivers are going to be there, but there is the chance that you can lose all 3. You might say, no, it's not worth the trade for me because the next category is dropped down lower and I don't want those guys here. It's not worth the extra 5th round pick. So that guy in a 5th doesn't equal the value of this guy at that pick. See what I mean? Now, if you only have 1 guy left in the category and somebody's offering you a trade and you know you're going to slide down and there's a 90% chance you're going to lose him, you might say, hey, look, man, I love this guy. I need more. If you want to trade up, the 5th isn't going to do it. I need a 4th and a 7th. They might go, okay. Or they say, all right, sorry, too rich. You go, okay, thank you. Like that's how it goes. In so many words, please. They don't let me in the draft war rooms anymore. So I don't know. And by any more, I mean ever. You know what I mean? Ever. They've never let me in, dude. Not one time. Now, let me tell you something. If I worked for the New York Jets, one of the things I would suggest as like a big time contest is that a fan and 1 guest get to win like a round in a draft war room, or maybe half a day or 3 hours. They get to sit there. They sign all kinds of non-disclosure stuff. And they get to hang out. Now, I don't know. It might not be worth it. They're like, this guy's going to go for $80 million. He's going to go sell our draft board. He's going to take a picture, like, all that stuff. You can't have your cell phone. Can't do any of that shit. But imagine, would you or would you not love if they said you can sit in the war room for the first round? That's the contest. And to get in the contest, everybody that gets in has to donate $100 to St. Jude. Once you donate $100 to St. Jude, you're in the contest. Huh? Come on. I would be like, all right, I'd give it right up. Here's my $100. Because then you feel good that you donated to one of the best, if not the best charity in the country. And then you can win the war room. Would you guys like that? I love it. All right, so let's see what else you guys are saying. Nobody's even responding to my awesome contest idea. All right. How about the TDN mock draft? The Draft Network, their mock draft is cumbersome, isn't it? You want to try it? We can do that. Let's wait a few minutes and we'll try the Draft Network. Truth is, I don't mess with that one anymore. It doesn't work really well on my cell phone, which is where I do most of my mocks. It's kind of, like I said, it's cumbersome. Right, Jeremy. So, guys, Jeremy Cravat, his NFL Chaos with Jeremy, he's about 15 subscribers away from eating live on camera a tablespoon of one of the hottest hot sauces in his that he knows. He's a hot sauce guy. He has a whole channel on hot sauces. So this one's really hot. Oh, no, he said teaspoon. My bad. I keep saying it should be a tablespoon. But the good news is once he gets up to 300, he's going to let 5 guys kick him in the nuts on camera. It's going to be great. So this time we'll get him to 200 and he'll eat the hot sauce right live on TV. We can watch his reaction and everything. Next time we get 5 kickers. What do you think? Sounds good, right? Wouldn't it, John? Wouldn't that be the best experience as a fan? That would be the best. If you're a fan like we're a fan, getting into that war room, or how about this? Not even the first round. What if you do day 3? Day 3, you get to hang out in the war room. Dude, I would kill for that. I would love it. David Gerard loves the idea. They should let you make a pick, right? Like, so think about this. You're in the war room. The scouts spend some time with you, kind of telling you what it is we're doing. Remember, you don't have a phone. You have nothing. You got to walk. You got to be completely clean. You walk in a hospital smock, underwear and slippers. Okay. You walk in like that. You can't leave till the round's over, so you can't say anything to anybody. They sit with you a while. They educate you on their tiers. And then the last pick of the draft, they tell you the couple of choices, and they let you pick a player. Oh, my God. I'd be like, Yeboah. That's what I would have did. I would have been like, Kenny Yeboah right now. Get him. They'd be like, we're going to get him as an undrafted. If you know what, fire this guy. I don't like him. That'd be so funny. Kamal Aguilero. I agree, man. I'm going to tell you, like, whether or not we're going to draft another interior offensive lineman, I don't think LDT stops you from doing that. But guys, I think we should extend him. Give him 3 years. Give him 3 years. Keep him on the line. Let him compete. Draft a young guy. Maybe you move it down around instead of drafting one in the second, if that was your plan. You bounce it down to maybe a third or fourth. You let the guy develop and keep LDT. You got to forget the guy's only played 4 games with us, something like that. Now he's had his rough moments, but again, he just got here. Remember how long it took our offensive line to get in the swing of things? It took him half the year. So he came in and was an immediate upgrade over GVR. Immediate. Undeniable, noticeable upgrade. So you keep him around. You keep McGovern. If you draft a center, whatever it is, and you let these guys just sit and develop behind starters. If they falter, then you got the young guy. Or, I really like Isaiah Williams too as a developmental guy. I love Ross Pierschbacher. Love him. Love him. That was the guy I wanted with the Wesco pick, man. I was screaming Pierschbacher. All right, Piddly Poo, what's he talking about? Aiden Hutchinson is overrated. No thanks. Thibby is potential. Still think offensive line and safety with tight end, wide receiver, cornerback, a close second is the way to go. Josh Paschal or Arnold Abikatai, edges second tier. Yeah, I disagree, buddy. That's fine. I don't disagree with a lot of what you said there, but number one, I don't think Aiden Hutchinson is underrated. He's not a 1-year guy. You know what I mean? He put up the production last year. He was considering coming out last year, and he made a good move not to. Dude, but he's had an amazing year. He was good enough to get drafted in the top 3 rounds last year. So that's the kind of guys I like, Piddly Poo. Guys that, like Quinnen Williams, with all due respect, had 1 year. That's it. He had 1 year. He kind of dominated with elite-looking skills, but he's super young, very inexperienced, came in, and we see it. It's a learning curve. Like the guys that have 1 year of production, it's not to say that they're not going to be great, but they always spook me a little bit. Aiden Hutchinson, on the other hand, has been doing this for more than 1 year. He's got a few years of production. So for a big-time school, no less. And the thing with Aiden Hutchinson is that he's also a very vocal team leader. So he's that too. He's that super high energy guy. Like he's got all that, the relentless motor. It's not like Thibodeau is more technically sound. I mean, he's a better pass rusher. But, Hutchinson has that incredible upside of like just becoming that relentless volatile kind of disruptor guy. I love them both. I would be ecstatic with either one. Karlaftis, not so much. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I would be totally fine with the pick. If they like him, I like him. You know what I mean? But I don't like him in the same way I like the other two. I can see Karlaftis sliding down some. I think that he's getting a lot of he's drafting. You know what drafting is like in NASCAR? He's drafting the top 2 edge rushers. He's getting sucked up there. That said, I do like him. But yeah, I don't know. Edge is so important, Piddly Poo. It's so important to this defense. And sadly, and with all respect, we don't know what Carl Lawson's going to be. He just had an Achilles tear. Now, if any type of person is going to come back from that, it's Carl Lawson. I mean, the guy's his work ethic is second to none. Like Salah said, he said it's a freak injury, man. The guy does literally everything right, from his diet to his sleep to his training to his rehab. He does everything, and he's an amazing leader. He was everything we wanted, and he blew out his Achilles in a practice in Green Bay. So I'm rooting for Carl Lawson, as I know everybody on here is. I get it, but having Carl Lawson and be depend on him for 2 years in a row, I think would be foolish. And I don't see, we already have the late round guys. We have them. We have Bryce Huff. We have Jabari Zuniga, who I still like, by the way. You saw him. He came in his first game. He got a beautiful end around sack, man. Forced fumble. He got injured again. That freaking guy can't stay healthy. Sucks. So, yeah. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I happen to disagree. I think edge is literally our number one need because this defense is predicated on it. If we don't have a pass rush, everything crumbles. And that's what we saw. And they start doing these weird soft zones to try to compensate for their lack of pass rush and everything else. Think about this, Piddly Poo. You get let's say one of those 2 edge rushers. I know you're saying that you think they're overrated. I get it. But let's say we get one. And he's effective. So him and Carl Lawson with JFM and Quinnen Williams. JFM's more of he doesn't have the bend to be an every down end. We see it. It's clear as day. And that was one of the knocks on him coming out. That he does play defensive end, but he's not an edge rusher. He's not. He doesn't have the bend or the burst. He can do it, but it's not where he should be. Playing outside of the guard, between the guard and the tackle, that's where you want him. And he's good in there. So you have Quinnen Williams and JFM rotating with Rankins and Jonathan Marshall, let's say. Kyle Phillips. And you have Carl Lawson and Aiden Hutchinson on the end. Then with another pick, you grab Nakobe Dean, Devin Lloyd, Brandon Smith, Christian Harris, whatever linebackers you fancy. Rusty Spooner's got a guy that I'm looking into. It's 260 pounds. Chanel. I'm going to get into him. Maybe him, but somebody who's effective. Then you put Kyle Hamilton back there or Jordan Battle. You get a safety that can cover the field. You know what that does for this defense? Just those 3 positions right there. You keep Bryce Hall, you keep Brandon Eccles, you keep Michael Carter, you keep Quincy Wilson or Williams rotating in. You got your guys, your rotation on the line, but you need that edge rush. You need it for that to all work. And then when you get an edge rush, you're keeping guys under 3 seconds to throw the ball, 2.4, something like that. You keep them pressured and they throw the ball. Your cornerback's only got to cover for that time, and then you have a safety with a nose for the ball. Now we're talking Ed Reed. Now we're talking a safety that just plucks balls all day and runs down the field like a deer with his ball in his hand. Yeah! That's what I want to see. So I get it, though, Piddly. Green Dog says it's a great contest. He'd sit naked in that room just to be there. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I doubt that'll be a requirement, thankfully. In order to win, you have to sit naked in here. And you have to be male. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I'm in. You win. You won the contest. Thank you for your donation. You get to sit in with us the whole day 3 war room. Here's a catch. You got to sit naked. You got to wear a clown hat, a clown wig. Yeah, fuck it. I'm in. Really? You think that? Stud City says Malik Willis will be what Deshaun Watson was supposed to be. Let me be clear here, though. Deshaun Watson was what Deshaun Watson was supposed to be. Dude, he was a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He was fantastic. If this whole off the field thing didn't happen, the Jets were probably going to give 3 first-round picks to get him. That was happening. That was actually happening. Miami, everybody still wants to trade. You know damn well the Panthers and Miami are still trying to trade for him. The Eagles. Maybe the Eagles have cooled down a little bit, but I think if they can get Deshaun Watson, Jalen Hurts, sit down. You know? So I don't know what Malik Willis is going to be able to do. I didn't see much of him. Like I said, I'm when I talk about Malik Willis, it's not to say I have any foundation that says he's not good, but I do just find it difficult to think that a quarterback from Liberty University in Southern Virginia, mid-Southern Virginia, is going to be an NFL quarterback. I mean, you want to talk about going from BYU. But Liberty's, it's a whole different thing. It's like James Morgan coming from FIU in the USA conference. It's like, it's just, I don't know. I find it difficult. I could be dead wrong. So Duncan McLean, what's up, buddy? McLean. He says, do you like a taller wide receiver, 6'3" or above? Do you think height is overfocused? That's my kind of wide receiver. And interestingly, the first 2 years Joe Douglas was here, that's the only receivers he brought in, Duncan. Every receiver Joe Douglas brought in, like obviously Crowder was here and whatever else, but all the guys Joe Douglas brought in, it might be Berrios, I forget. I think Berrios was here. But everybody he brought in, for the most part, was 6'2" and above. And then all of a sudden, this staff comes in, and they want a Brandon Ayuk type of, and they draft Elijah Moore. And then Berrios gets more of a prominent role. So I think it all depends on what the scheme wants. What does the offensive coordinator use better? Like, you want an offensive coordinator who can scheme around his players no matter what? I don't know if LaFleur's there yet, honestly. I think that's what happened with Mims. Whatever they did, it was a failure. We push reset. Hopefully we can either get something for him or he can bounce back. That is what it is. But I think that this staff might prefer the quicker Tyreek Hill type, and that's fine. But I love Steve Smith. I love Anquan Bolden. You know what I mean? I like 6'3", fast as they can be. I like a guy that's ready to take someone's head off on a running play or blocking for his other wide receivers. Keyshawn was an amazing blocker. Krebet was a very good blocker. I like those guys. So the bigger the size, I love guys that when the ball's coming, the cornerback's right there and he just says, no, that is mine. I like that. Des Bryant. You know what I mean? So that's my preferred wide receiver. Let's see. Depressed Jets fan. Mock Draft Database has the best mock draft simulator and rankings. Really? Maybe we try that one. What do you guys think? You want to try Draft Network, or you want to try Mock Draft Database? Let's see. Let me catch up here. Let's see here. Yeah, right. Get my Bob says, then Woody blames you for screwing up the whole draft. That kid or that guy that picked my 7th round pick, he ruined it. That's why our first pick is a bust. Right? So Friggle D says, I think they go free agency for safety. Sign Tart and re-sign Joyner. Pinnock, Davis, and Riley have shown potential. I don't know what the love affair with Joyner is. I've heard that on numerous occasions. Like, no, we're going to re-sign Joyner. I'm not against it per se, but the guy played, a handful of snaps for us and then was out for the rest of the year. He was on a 1-year contract. And like I said before, if the thinking is this is a deep safety class, we're going to get our safety here. We're going to fortify our position with a deep safety class, more likely to hit. Then it makes sense that we only brought Joyner in for 1 year, only locked Marcus May up for 1 year. You see what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not against going to free agency for a safety, but like, again, you have to look at where the value is, Friggledy. It's like a safety coming over, unless you're paying top dollar, you're going to get a second-rate safety. So if you want to really fortify the position, you bring over a top safety in free agency, you're going to have to pay your ass off for a safety. And that is what I have a hard time seeing Joe Douglas do. I think he's going to bargain shop for safeties, but he's going to use the draft for a premium safety. That's what I think. Because it's cheaper. You get the talent, but at the less expensive price. You're going to go, sign one of these guys. You're going to pay, $12 million, $11 million, $10 million for a safety when you can just use a pick and pay him $2 million. Make sense? And if you want to re-sign Joyner, just, hey, he's bouncing back. He looks great. Doctors think he's fine. Okay. Give him another 1-year deal, but I wouldn't depend on him at all. You know what I mean? Elijah Riley, sure. Will Parks, I don't know. You know what I mean? Pinnock. Pinnock played one game. He played a good game. Played a good game for being his first time in the position. But I don't know. They didn't play him there again, but a handful of plays, right? Yeah. Chris Merkovich. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Now, unless you mean the end of that defensive line, then yeah, that's what we're talking about. If we were to get a defensive tackle in the first round, I would be very disappointed. I would. I can't see it. I can't see it. We got Quinnen, we got Rankins, we got Fadukasi, we got Shepard, we have Kyle Phillips, we draft pick Jonathan Marshall. You know what I mean? Like it's the one position on this team that is severely overstocked. You know what I mean? Maybe not severely overstocked, but it's well stocked. It's well stocked, man. Paris wants to know, could you get Karlaftis in the second round possibly? I don't know. Again, we're going to have to see how the combines go. You know how it goes. People feast over the measurables, high jump, long jump, 3-cone, 40, 10-yard splits. They love it. DK Metcalf was an absolute freak. He ran an amazing 40 time, and then he made the mistake of doing the 3-cone drill. With a lot of bigger wide receivers don't do it. You want to know why? Because it makes him look bad. He did a terrible 3-cone drill, and then he slipped all the way to the end of the second round. Why? Because they said because of his 3-cone drill, that is proof that he cannot be anything but a straight line wide receiver, which means his role is limited in the offense. It's not worth a first or second round pick. Before the 3-cone drill, people were literally discussing, and I mean this now, how serious, there was actual discussions about using our 3rd overall pick on DK Metcalf. Then came the 3-cone drill. So I'm telling you, the combine changes people, man. They take guys straight off their board after the combine. Guys they loved. This guy, I'm zeroing in on the 3rd round pick for this guy. Love him. He has a terrible combine. Take him off my board. Look at Ja'Kai Polite. Ja'Kai Polite was in talks to be a 1st round pick. He had a terrible combine, bad interviews, became in fat, the whole thing. People literally they met him and scratched him right off their board. He's undraftable, undrafted free agent territory. Mike McCagnon, said, oh my God, this guy's going to slip. I'm going to grab the steal of the draft. We both know which way that went. Joe Douglas was hired. Mike McCagnon was fired. Joe Douglas was hired. And Ja'Kai Polite didn't even make it through the preseason. Or maybe he made it the first cuts, whatever. I think it was first cuts. He didn't make it through the entire preseason with us. Joe Douglas, this guy sucks. I hated him when we scouted him. You know what I mean? But he was a first-round pick grade at one point before that combine. So the combine, right or wrong, like sometimes it shows you what you need to see and you make the right decision. Sometimes it shows you something and you overreact. But it definitely changes. So a guy like Karlaftis, if he has a bad combine, he's already kind of, his numbers don't support, his numbers aren't great. I forget what they are, but they're not like leap off the page numbers. So if he has a weak combine after not putting up the right numbers, people are going to question, do I really want to use my top 10, top 15 pick on this guy when I know that Evan Neal is the best tackle in the draft and he's sitting there at 8? Do I take Karlaftis at 8? If he's there in the second, I'll think about it. Like, that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, you know, the combine is fun, man. I don't know if you guys, if you're someone who hasn't yet dug into the combine, like I like to just sit there and watch it. I like to watch it all day. Then I like reading the tweets and stuff. I love it. I just love to watch these guys. I love the wide receiver drills. I love the quarterback drills. I love the defensive line drills. I love it. I love seeing the big uglies run the 40. I love it, man. When I watched Tristan Wirfs and Mekhi Becton run that 40 last year, I couldn't even believe it. I said that either one of these guys, man, holy shit, they're so athletic. It's insane. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the good news, man, my eyes tonight. The good news with the Jets right now, guys, is that we know whether or not you agree with Joe Douglas's choices and stuff, whether it's free agency or whether it's the draft, you cannot deny that the guy is a student of how to do this. He worked under Ozzie Newsome for over a decade, 15 years. He's arguably the greatest GM ever. Arguably. He's up there. Joe Douglas knows how to do this. Mike McCagnon had no idea. John Idzik was the numbers guy. That's all he knew. But Tannenbaum was an accountant. We had 2 consecutive accountants as our general manager. That's great for the contracts and everything. And Mike Tannenbaum, you know, he just threw caution to the wind. He was balls to the wall. It was fun. And he did some good things. But let's be real here. He didn't really know how to do this. He went into one draft with 3 picks. Another draft 4. Like, he's just fuck it. Like, that's how he is. And again, it worked until it didn't. Then it was like, we're in a hole here, Mike. We're in a hole. You know, before him, we had Terry Bradway. He was a complete failure. He's a scout, a glorified scout. Terry Bradway is a very well-respected scout. They put him in a general manager role. He traded 2 first-round picks to move up in a very deep defensive tackle draft. He traded 2 first-round picks to move up to grab Dwayne Robertson, who's a fine player, not 2 first-round picks fine. The year before, he traded a first-round pick for, what the hell was his name? I always want to say Chris Dudley. That's that center for the Knicks. It wasn't him. What was his name? Oh, what was that tight end's name from the Raiders? Forgive me. And then with his second, so he traded our first-round pick away for a tight end who was an average tight end. So dumb. And then he used our second-round pick, which was our first pick in the draft, on a friggin' kicker. These are our GMs. You think Joe Douglas would be caught dead doing that? Trading your first-round pick, which is the Jets. So, it was kind of probably mid. We were good at the times. Maybe it was a little bit later. I don't know. I don't remember. But it doesn't matter. A first round pick, you're going to trade a first round pick to the Raiders for a tight end? And then you use your second round pick on a kicker? So the message you're sending with that series of choices is we are a tight end and a kicker away from the Super Bowl. That's what you're saying. Because to bypass offensive line, wide receiver, running back even, defensive end, cornerback, to bypass all those guys, all those important positions, you're saying I need a tight end and a kicker more than those. We have our cornerbacks. We have our edge rusher. We have our offensive. And maybe we did. We were not a kicker away from the Super Bowl, friends. So these are our GMs. The one thing you can say about Joe Douglas without fear is that he knows what the hell he's looking at. He has Phil Savage in the room. The guy was a GM. He was a front office guy under Ozzie Newsome forever. Then he ran the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns prematurely cut him after, fired him after 2 seasons. Then he went and ran the Senior Bowl for a decade or more. Whatever it was. I forget how many years. The guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to view. He ran the Senior Bowl, guys. He knows all the players. He knows all the people that he needs to know. Chad Alexander is going to be he's going to be a general manager someday. Rex Hogan, he's been all over the place. Worked under Ballard in Indianapolis. Worked under Mike Maccagnan, left Mike Maccagnan for Chris Ballard, came back for Joe Douglas. So the one thing we can be confident is if there's a trade that's going to be made, Joe Douglas is going to win it or not do it. And whether or not he makes the right pick, if the guy doesn't work out, or you don't know. The draft is a crapshoot in many respects. They say darts, throwing darts. But you know that the requisite work and intel and all that stuff went into the choice. That room is packed full of people who know what they are doing. That has not been the case for us. It has not been the case for us. Shit. Terry Bradway got fired as our GM. Mike Tannenbaum kept him on board as a scout. Then Tanny gets fired. Idzik kept him on board. Then Maccagnan kept him, I believe. It's like, why is he still here? Fire him. They fired him and kept him. I think they felt guilty. It's like weird. So anyway, that's the great thing about our situation right now, guys. Jolly. There he is. Yeah, I knew there was more to the trade. So we trade. Here it is. Thank you, Horatio Hornblower. He says 2005, Jolly was dealt from the Raiders to the Jets with a 2nd round pick and 2 6th round picks for a 1st and a 7th round pick. So are you doing that trade? You're giving away your 1st round pick, then we get the 2nd round pick and we use it on Ted Nugent. Mike Nugent. Motor City Madman. Like, why are you doing all that? Just pick your tight end if that's what you need. Doug Jolly let me just explain this. Doug Jolly was an average tight end. He was fine. He was a good guy, good player. Silliness. Doug Jolly. Look at you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Hornblower. Yeah, you guys all had it. Jason Marrow, right? Nice one. Remember Amaro? That was the one Idzik pick I liked. You know that? And he had a good rookie season too. He did. I don't know what happened to him. Todd Bowles came over. Todd Bowles, when he got here, Todd Bowles and Chan Gailey hated Jeremy Curley and Jay Samaro. They hated him. They went immediately from starters all the way down, and then they were cut. And like, for what reason? Jeremy Curley, while he shouldn't be your lead receiver, fair enough, he shouldn't. And he was ours. So he shouldn't be your main receiver. But Jeremy Curley was a damn good football player, man. Why did they hate him so much? You know what I'm saying? It's weird. And Jason Marrow had a very good, very strong rookie season. Second year, Todd Bowles and company come in, and they just didn't like him, and he was gone. They ended up cutting him, I believe, and he went over to Tennessee, and he had like nothing. He did nothing the rest of his career. Weirdest thing. But I don't know what happened there. He was like, he led college in tight end receptions. He had like 100 receptions, something crazy like that. Comes in, he has a good rookie season, and then poof. And that's what I always say to you guys, man. Like, saying that a guy's a bust after 1 or 2 years is premature. Saying a guy's an all-pro, saying a guy is Hall of Fame after 1 or 2 years is also not necessarily the case. Look at Sheldon Richardson, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, traded 2 years later for a second in Jermaine Kearse to a team that didn't keep him. He went to Detroit, I think it was, and then he went to the Browns, and now he's somewhere else. He's a journeyman. Rookie of the Year. Who knows? Jay Spector, that's funny. We need a safety who has a PhD in geometry so they take the correct angle to the ball. Right? You got to know the angles. You got to know the geometry of it. That's why I suck at pool. I don't see it. People are so good at pool, and I can play it. Dude, I suck. It's the weirdest thing. I just don't. The geometry doesn't line up for me. It's a weird phenomenon, I tell you. I'm like, okay, there it is. And it just doesn't go. Or it goes where I want it to go, but I just saw it wrong, and then it doesn't go in the hole. Scuffy McTugboat says Karlaftis will come in hungry. Any kid who lost a dad and balls out after that, get him. Personality trait. That has value here. You guys know that, man. It's one of the things that we've put a premium on these last 2 years. Character. Now, I'm not the type of character that Mike McCagnon, if you guys remember, he had a bugaboo with anyone, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but he had a bugaboo with anyone who has any type of domestic incident. Right? Him and his wife, they ran some sort of charity or something like that. And that he would not even look at anybody who had anything like that in their background. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong, but that to Mike McCagnon was character. Then he goes, who was it? The guy who got drunk in the Lincoln Tunnel, drove the wrong way in the Lincoln Tunnel. Was that McCagnon or might have been Idzik? But I think it was Idzik. So Mike McCagnon said he placed a premium on character, and then he drafts Ja'Kai Polite. So there's an inconsistency there. What Joe Douglas has done is he has focused on not just squeaky clean, valedictorian types, the right kind of character to be on a football team. Leaders, guys that don't crack under the first sign of pressure, guys that aren't divas. Like, as soon as they're not getting the ball, they want to cry and bitch and go to the press and become an anonymous source, all that stuff. We don't have anybody like that on our team. And this adversity that we saw this year, you know how tough this year was? You remember? This was a tough one, guys. This was tough. If we had Jamal Adams, Tremaine Johnson, Sheldon Richardson, Brandon Marshall, all those guys, this team would have been fractured in two. There would have been fights. Santonio Holmes, Plaxico Burress, all these guys. We would have signed Ndamukong Suh. Remember when he used us to jump up his money? Remember, like, if we had these guys, the way that this team was going this year with all the adversity, there were people literally saying that Saleh should be fired. And, in the first 4 games, LaFleur should be fired. And the second half of the season, it was Ulbrich needs to be fired. But that's not just fans. Fans are passionate. Fans are just speaking with their emotions. There were people out there writing articles. Saleh's on the hot seat. Ian Rappaport just put out an article with the top 5 coaches on the hot seat. And Saleh was in the article. Now, he said he's not, but why is he even in the article? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because he wanted the Jets fan clicks. That's why. He wanted us to go. No, I didn't click on it. I just read some comments underneath the tweet. Blah blah blah, But I know why. Like all he has to do is say, some people think Salah might be on the hot seat. He had a tough year, but I think he's not. No shit. So are you going to say every coach that's not? No. They're going to say Salah because they know Jets fans are going to see it and lose their minds. But so anyway, there was all that stuff swirling around. Mike effing White, Joe Flacco, panic trade. No vet quarterback. Joe Douglas sucks. He's panicking. Remember all this stuff? If we didn't place a premium on character players, this place would have been a shit show. Did we have one anonymous source? The only guy who claims to have one is Tony Pauling. And he's writing some bullshit articles these days. Nobody's claiming that they know anything because they don't. This team is locked down. Guys that are looking at this like Bryce Hall's like, dude, you kidding me? This is exactly what God wants me to be in. I love it. We're going to get through this. Michael Carter, dude, the guy, he can't be phased. He's like, man, we're going to get through. When we get through this, boy, we're going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread in this city. That's Michael Carter. I love him. That's what we're talking about now. See what I mean? It's a whole different thing, guys. Right, King P. Leave him alone. Give him 3. I want Salah to get his full 5 years. That's what I want. I'm tired of it. I don't need to change a coach every 2 years. I'm sick of it. Rex, we gave 6 years. I think, honestly, if we were going to fire Tannenbaum, we should have fired Rex that same day. That's why we got a shitty GM, because any GM was going to come here and know that Rex is already on the hot seat, and we're going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to jump on a boat heading toward the falls. So either keep Tannenbaum and Rex together for the full 6 years or fire them. That's what I think. But that all said, so we had Rex for 6 years. We had Bowles for 4 years. We had Gase for 2 years. Now we have Salah 1 year, and people are thinking he's going to get fired. It's like, dude, just give him the 5 years. He and Joe Douglas, they're tied together. Let them, as 2 leaders, right this ship or go. They get 6 years, that's enough. You got to be able to show some results. Now, maybe you don't win the Super Bowl in that time, but if you're a consistently competitive team, you're in the playoffs, you're getting to the divisional round, you get to the championship, whatever it is. Yeah, man. That's what you want to see. Twist's mind, he says, character. Ronnie Lott cut off a finger to play a game. Yeah, man. I don't know how many more times we'll see something like that, Twists. I don't know, buddy. But I'm with you. I'm with you. That's the kind of stuff. Yeah, look, Jay Spector, he says, took Cowher 8 years to win his Super Bowl. Salah is a breath of fresh air after Gase and Bowles. I could not agree more. And you guys know, I'm not like a homer. I'm not going to not say when I see things that I don't like. I say it all the time. But overall, you got to give them time. They chose the hard way, guys. They chose the hard way. We got to ride with them. Right, Amarillo says, Pauline is a fool. Jets are going to move on from their all-pro potential left. Yeah, already. One, he gets rolled on. You didn't get back in time. We're done. He said that there's a potential rift in the house. He also said a couple months ago that there was a rift over Mims. I don't think there is. I don't think there's not a rift. Joe Douglas and Salah talk. They're probably lockstep on the same page. Joe Douglas is going to get him players, and Salah's going to do what he wants to do with them. That's what's going to go on. Well, King P, Carter is great. I love his personality, super talented, but he has 3 injuries this year, man. So he needs to stay in. He needs to stay healthy, that guy. I'm nervous for him. I really am. I don't know what that means. But, and it doesn't mean anything one way or the other, but it's definitely, you got to raise an eyebrow on it. Because if you're depending on him to be your starting running back, like I know they like the committee thing, so they'll have some guys. But if they wanted Michael Carter to be like the bell cow of sorts, 15 to 20 carries a game, he has not shown that he can do that yet. So if you're depending on him in that way, and he goes out week 3 until week 8, 7, dude, that's going to hinder the team. It hinders everything. So I think they should draft I think they should draft a running back maybe every 2 years. I mean, every year, but probably every other year. Bring in another running back. Just bring him in. Keep young legs developing on the offense at all times. Same thing with offensive linemen. You want young offensive linemen here learning the system, different tiers. You want your starters. You want a guy behind him who's been here for 2 years. You want a rookie behind them. That's what you want. Just keep it going. Wide receivers. Keep the guys on your practice squad and on the bottom end of your roster. You want them potentially to be starters unless they're special teams aces. Well, Paris, let me flip that for you, buddy. So he's talking about, he says hiring a consulting firm to get a general manager was ludicrous. But what's more ludicrous? Hiring a consulting firm, admitting I don't know how to do this, or pretending that you know how to do it and botching it. You know what I mean? Like, so here's the thing. The Johnsons have had their rough spots, right? No doubt. Not a doubt in the world. But when you have an owner that understands that, hey, look, this is not I own the team. I hired the wrong guys, and now I really don't know where to start. I had to clean house. I don't know where to start. So he hires a consulting firm that's supposed to be able to do this. Right? Now, look, I want you to know, I don't agree with it either. But it shows something to me. It shows a willingness to admit inadequacy. I don't want to blow this. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'll hire outside help that are supposed to do it. Now, that didn't work. He hired Idzik, so he fires Idzik and Rex. And what does he do next time? He didn't learn how to do it. He doesn't know how to do it suddenly. So instead of hiring an outside consulting firm, he goes and hires 2 former general managers, 2 well-regarded general managers, one who worked for the Jets for a time, Ron Wolf and Casserly. 2 GMs. You guys know, all right, the consulting firm thing didn't work out. I only gave it 2 years. I cut ties. I washed my hands of it. I need help. You guys have been in the NFL for 30 years each. You're 2 former GMs. You've built Super Bowl teams and all that. Can you help me? They say yes. Doesn't that show a willingness to try to overturn every stone? Like, yeah, it sucks that our owner doesn't know what he's doing as far as building a football team. But I look at that as a positive, Paris. Now, Casserly just happened to take advantage of him and just hire his buddy. He's friends with Mike Maccagnan. Mike Maccagnan was about to get fired by the Texans. And Casserly leapfrogged Mike Maccagnan over assistant GM and director of whatever, senior director, and just made him a general manager. Now, in his defense, he had a background in football. He's a scout, all those things. So, but that's what Casserly did. He didn't hire the best man. He hired the guy that he likes the best. And that's bullshit. So then what did he, you know the whole rest of the story. So I don't know. I got to say, I look at that as a positive, Paris. While I don't disagree with your initial statement that it's ridiculous that we have to do that. At the same time, I can find the positive in there, which is, fuck, man, the guy admitted he doesn't know, and he wanted it to succeed. He wanted to get it right. It's just the wrong move. It's like, and then he goes and takes the diplomatic position in England, and he lets his little brother hire it, and his brother comes in trying to prove, that he can do it, and he does everything himself. He says, I got this. We're going to change the uniforms. I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to hire this. And he learned in his 4 years, holy shit, this is hard. I don't know anything about this. He tried. He tried like two different styles, right? Woody backed off and said, I need some help. Chris Johnson said, I got it. This is not as hard as you're making it look, Woody. You know? And he came in and he just balls to the wall, stomped around the place, changed everything. And it fucking blew up in his face. He hired Adam Gase and kept Mike McCagnon. So you see, thankfully, Adam Gase got us Joe Douglas. You can't take that away from him. There's not a doubt in my mind that without Adam Gase, Joe Douglas isn't here. And Joe Douglas is legit. Joe Douglas had already been requested to interview for general managers' jobs. The Eagles denied them. I think it was the Saints. They asked to interview Joe Douglas for their GM position. And the Eagles denied the request. They said, no, we're not going to allow him. Then it gets to a certain point in his contract and they can't deny it anymore. And then what'd they do? They let him interview with us and we hired his ass. So he was going to be the next big GM. He was definitely going to be a GM that year. So the unseen wisdom of CJ's move is that when we had, when we fired Mike McCagnon, it gave us sole ownership of the opportunity to speak with Joe Douglas. Nobody else could do it. It was only us. So we got the time that we needed to negotiate and all that. Beautiful. You know what I mean? Mike Kaz, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I don't see a question. I'll scan real quick and look. But I thank you. I appreciate it. If I see a comment from you, I'll try to make sure it's there. But thank you. Maybe it was a sticker. It doesn't say sticker. But Mike Kaz, Jets all time. Thank you. Bye P Ryan, Tony G says. I don't know. You guys know I like LaMichael P Ryan. I liked him in college. I liked him as a prospect. I liked the draft pick. Again, I thought he was around later. I was looking for P Ryan in like a 5th round, and we drafted him in the 4th. I thought that was a little bit of an overdraft, but I liked the player. And then we got Bryce Hall in the 5th, who I thought was a fucking 2nd. So it was like, is that? But P Ryan, I don't know. It's just he's just on the practice squad. He looked like he was going to take the starting job in preseason. So I don't know what happened there. He got injured, and that was the end. But when he did come in, he got 7 carries or something like that, 4-yard average. P Ryan's fine. If they don't like him, they don't like him. That's fine. He's under contract for 2 years. Get something for him then. See if you can get something for him. But running backs, they're hard to trade. Right, Cadoza? Every 2 years, I know. But the thing is, we just got this started, so I wouldn't be against drafting a running back in this year's draft. The guy I like, but it's going to be too early, is Isaiah Spiller. Take a look. I like him. Joe Douglas wants the trenches strong. Indeed, Kelly. But I have a hard time believing that he's going to use yet a 3rd first-round pick in a row on the offensive line. There's too many other positions that need premium talent. Now, the offensive line is that important, so I wouldn't be blown away. I just don't think that's the way it's going to go. Unless the draft board falls in such a way that that's the only pick. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. Manny Roman, my thoughts on Isaiah Likely, tight end from Coastal Carolina. I like him. I don't like Coastal Carolina all that much. I think that he's going to have a little bit more of an adjustment period. But that said, I think Isaiah Likely up till this point is kind of seen a little bit earlier than I think he's going to go. But again, depends on his combine and everything. So I like him. I wouldn't like to see him. He would not be the tight end that I want the Jets to draft in the second or third round. That wouldn't be him for me. But if we got him later, I'd be fine. I like him. I do. I like him. I just don't think he's turnkey. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Let's see. Well, Horatio, that's the thing with Pirine. He's going to be a third-year vet, and he's got great pass protection skills, soft hands. You do everything. So there you go. You heard it here first. Horatio Hornblower says Michael Pirine should be the starter. Thank you. You heard it here first, everybody. Could you imagine? D. Jones, he says, I think the Giants cut Saquon and we try to go after him to pair with Carter. Dude. Imagine Saquon Barkley, I do that all the time. Barkley ends up getting cut and he's on prove it deal territory because of the injuries and everything. I take a flyer on that fella. Hell yeah. Give him a 2-year contract and you don't make him the bell cow. You just fit him into the offense. This way, less wear and tear on the body and all that jazz. Yeah, boy. I don't think that's likely, though, man. Cadoza says he wouldn't hate that either. Yeah, I think all of us would be on board now if he wants $10 million or something like that. You can go pound salt, buddy. You got to stay on the field first. Braden Bethwaite says our boy Frankie from Flatbush said the overall season grade for the rookie quarterbacks is 60%. Zach is at 62. Not bad. Yeah, dude, Zach's having a fine close to the season, guys. He started rough. He had a little flash here or there, but he was rough. Look, he's settling down. He's given us what we all want, which is progression. That's what we want. He's coming from BYU, never dealt with anything like New York before, never dealt with bad luck like the Jets before. The Jets are a whole different thing, guys. If you don't know that by now, I don't know what you've been watching. We got one more hurdle than any other team. It's just always there's going to be one more injury, one more bad bounce, one more penalty just because you're the Jets. We got to get out of that. It's like, remember when Revis was our cornerback? All of a sudden, Revis, we had this cornerback and Cromartie too. We had these two cornerbacks that were so technically sound and highly regarded that they stopped throwing pass interference calls on us every 5 minutes. Why? Because they knew these guys are legit. So they fought and worked and earned that respect, that benefit of the doubt from the refs. There's always interference. You know that. There's always a little hold. There's always a little interference. They can call it or not most of the time. When Revis out there, they barely ever called it. Why? Because they know this guy's rock solid. We don't have that rep. We have the rep of a bunch of blowhards that don't know what they're doing. So they call the penalties. Why are they going to let the Jets beat this team? You know what I mean? Now, obviously, it's not all the refs, and I'm not insinuating that. But I'm saying there is a time. There's a way out of this. And there is a time. There is a place where you can get to where that's no longer the case. But that takes work, man. That takes work. Let's see here. I got to catch up again. You guys are rocking it, man. Show enough. Well, he's not, I don't know if he's underrated. I think that the first half of the season, show enough of Madden, he was the number one run defender for the defensive line in the NFL. The second half of the season, he's had a almost non-existence presence. We have gotten run on up and down the field. Now, in last week's game, he showed up again. He had an impact. But I think he's a very good player. But I don't know what happened to him the second half of the season, man. He had a rough go. and he played. So I don't know. I think he's very good. I'd like to see them retain him. He's got one more year, I think he has on his contract. One more year. So just keep him, see what happens before you renegotiate or anything like that. And honest to God, sure enough, I think Fatukasi could be a trade chip. We have some younger bodies in the house. We got Kyle Phillips, Jonathan Marshall. I'm just saying. I love Fatukasi. I think it's one of Mike McCagden's best picks. Late round pick, defensive tackle. But still, another friggin' defensive tackle. And, in that draft, he drafted Sam Darnold. Then his next pick was Nathan Shepard. And then later in the draft, he took Fatukasi. What's with the defensive tackles, dude? Can you get Sam a fucking wide receiver? Can you get some offensive line? Nope, defensive tackles. Next draft, Quinnen Williams with the 3rd overall pick, Ja'Kai Polite with his next pick. Fantastic. Blake Cashman, Blesson Austin, Trevon Wesco. That's his draft. And Chuma. Crazy. Johnny P with the super chat. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it, man. Thoughts on our training staff. Was so excited when we created the new group headed by a doctor, but then we have seen even worse season of injuries. You want to know something, Johnny P? It's interesting. We're 17th in injuries. I looked maybe 2 weeks ago, I think it was. A little less. We were 17th, or maybe it was 19th. 17th or 19th in the NFL in injuries. So going from 31st, 2 years ago, we had, over a 2-year period, during Adam Gase's years, we had the most IR in the NFL over that 2-year span. Most, by far. So, doesn't feel like it, does it? But there has been improvement. But here's the other thing I'll say, Johnny P. I was also excited, and you may or may not have seen my videos on how important and how big of a deal it was. It was getting almost no press. It was just like an announcement. Oh, yeah, and they signed a bunch of new people. Nobody dug into it like I wanted them to, so I dug into it. I got into Dr. DeWeese. I learned a little bit about the other doctors he hired. I learned about his training regimen. I watched all kinds of Dr. DeWeese speeches and all kinds of stuff. So I was equally excited. But here's what I'll say. Just like the rookie head coach, the rookie offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, quarterback coach, rookie quarterback, all that stuff, we give them time to acclimate, get settled. Dr. DeWeese is creating an entirely new program. So I think that's probably going to take a minute to sink in too. That's what I think. They're still learning their ropes. Remember, Dr. DeWeese said, our intention here is to create something. What we have planned is to create something that the entire NFL mimics. We want to change this. We know what we're doing. Player-specific training and nutrition and rehab regimens. Everything is player-specific. Everything. And that's why he needs so many doctors. So I think that's just going to take time. That's my hope anyway. But I'm with you, man. And these injuries, we cannot keep going forward like this and expect to do anything. I mean, we have some depth. Look at our tackles, right? I mean, shit. We lost a whole bunch of tackles this year. And it's just like, we still have tackles that can come in and start. Connor McDermott, Chuma Edoga, you might not want him as your starting guys, but Connor McDermott, that first game, and when he came back, he played a hell of a first half. Second half, not so good. But it's his first game in. It happens. Chuma Edoga had a bad few plays when he came in, penalty, gave up a big sack, and then he settled down. So, but anyway, it takes time to get that depth, and it takes time to get everybody into the system. I think the same thing is going to apply with the medical, nutrition, training, and rehab staffs. They got to get on the same page. They got to get these players working their system. Like I said, like when you have this whole rookie class, think about it, this whole rookie class, they didn't have a training camp, like an off season to like get into this staff's program. They had training camp and then they were in the season. So they're working with them. But I think this is the first real off season, that full off season, that our whole team is going to be able to have this staff working on them. And that's what I'm excited for. And I think maybe year 2, year 3, year 4, we're going to see that impact. Be the healthiest team in the NFL. That's their goal. Wouldn't that be amazing if we stopped seeing these friggin' injuries? But yeah, thanks, Johnny. I appreciate it, man. That's a good question, too. Friggle D with his sleeper pick. You want a sleeper running back player? Max Borghi, Washington State. Check him out. Will do, Friggle D. Max Borghi, everybody. When we come back next week, I want all your reports on Max Borghi. We'll see what we think. How about for the Thursday thick of it? We got Boy Green on this week. We got Joe Blewett on the following week. We have some guys from Jetnation. Oh, no, the week after that, we got the goddamn Jet Show. Then we have a couple guys from Jetnation. I'm working on some others. It's going to be awesome. We got a great couple months for the offseason set up for the Thursday thick of it with Frankie and Y2K and everybody. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be great. This one I'm keeping for me. I'm just keeping this one myself. This is the after hours, whatever fest thing. We'll just hang out. You know what I mean? So the Art of Pimpin' says, I've been in and out because of COVID. Did you discuss the tight end for the draft class? Not so much. But I'm sorry to hear you have COVID, man. That's not good news. I hope you're on the mend, buddy. A lot of my friends and my family have it right now. It's really something. And I hope you feel better, man. Truly. But yeah, we've been going in and out with the tight ends. We talked about Isaiah Likely, Trey McBride, Charlie Collard, Jeremy Ruckert. Talked about some guys. Is this the real Jake Ashman? Is this the real guy? Look at this guy. He's floating around. Parts unknown, always coming through. My Elijah Moore jersey should be arriving soon. There you go. All right, Jake, it's nice to see you, buddy. Truly. I'll reach out to you tomorrow. I was just thinking about you today. I'm not even kidding. I swear I was thinking about you just today. And thanks for popping in. This is the late show, man. This is the late show, buddy. It's nice to see Jake Ashman. I'm sure many of you guys support him, but if you don't, he's legit, man. He's the real deal. He works for ESPN Radio, as you know, and he also has he's a Jet fan, so he keeps that on the side pocket, and he gives us inside scoops and everything else. He's awesome. Thanks for popping in, Jake. It's good to see you. I'm going to reach out to Jake. I was just telling you guys, you want to know I'll share with you the secret. My own little secret that I haven't shared with even anybody. But I was telling you my list of people I have scheduled, and I was thinking about Jake today, and I was like, I'm going to reach out to Jake and see if he can maybe do a live stream with us. I don't know if he's too busy or not, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to reach out. Here you go. Jake Ashman in the house. Too bad I wasn't down there in the chat yet, right? He's a GreenBean fan. You see that? Look at that. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Jake. If you're not still here, I'll reach out to you. If you're still here, I'll reach out to you. And thank you for popping in, man. I appreciate it. Solo Marco Polo says, I think we're in the right direction. I like that these players and coaches are starting from scratch as a team. Helps the long-term growth, not like a bunch of drafted players going to a failing coach. Yeah. Well, and look, man, how many years, guys, have we counted on a big bunch of expensive free agents getting their last contract? They come here and they just do nothing, man. They do nothing, right? Aren't you tired of that? I'm tired of it. And I know our natural inclination is to think we want the big name free agent guy. I get it. I have the same urge. But I'm so happy Joe Douglas isn't caught up in that, man. It's not to say I wouldn't have liked Jack Conklin or Joe Thuney or Lindsley. I would yeah, sure. But I like the way we're doing it. He wants to build through the draft. Free agency has been used just to fill out the roster. Now, he put some time into some guys, Carl Lawson, Corey Davis. He gave a couple guys longer-term contracts. But overall, free agency has been used to fill the spots while he builds through the draft. That's how I see it. And I agree with you, Solo Marco Polo. Oh, look, he is here. Hey, GreenBean, thanks for the kind words, brother. Huge fan of your content, as you know. Yeah, right on, man. As I am of yours, and you know that. So it's super cool, man. It's super cool, but it is 12:07 and we are going to wrap this one up. We are going to say a few things. Don't forget that we're having the contest. I'm trying to get me up to 5,000 subs. All you have to do to enter is subscribe right here and then go over to my other YouTube channel. It's just a little YouTube channel away. Full-time Coaster Tour. Give me a sub there and you are in the contest. You want a second entry? Go ahead and follow me on my Instagram, Greenbeanjetsfan, and you are in. You can win a beautiful Green Bean t-shirt of your choice from the GreenBeanjetsfan.com merch store, or you can be the grand prize winner, get that t-shirt and the Manscaped Ultra Smooth Pack in addition to some Green Bean stickers. Nice, beautiful pack that you will get in the mail from me. Okay. And don't forget, you can always support me on Patreon. We have the best off-season scheduled for the Patreon dudes. It's going to be amazing, man. Breakdowns, private mocks, all sorts of great stuff. Classic game parties. We're going to watch the Midnight Miracle together. It's going to be amazing, guys. I cannot wait till this offseason starts for that reason. If you want to support me on Patreon, the link is right there. 5, 10, 25, $2 million a month. Whatever it is you want to do, you can. And I thank you guys. This was great, man. 12:09. Here we are. I'm looking green. See, I got my new light system. You like that? Look at this. Yeah. See that? Look, I can do anything I want now. Look at that. Isn't that nuts? Let's do this to close it. There we go. Get me some real light, a little bit less. Let me see. There we go. That's bright. All right, I'm going back to green. I don't like it. Okay, I don't know what this is. I'm like aqua now. All right, I messed up. I did it too far. Guys, thank you for being here. Silver Scouts says, good job. Good job for you too, man. You guys are awesome. What an amazing chat, dude. You guys were rocking it. I mean, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of tweets, I want to call them, but they're not. They're chat messages. You guys are the best. Right, we are. We're raving. All right, Cadoza. You guys are the best. I thank you for being here. Have a great night, everybody. Don't forget the Thursday Thick of It with Frankie and everybody else in the crew. And we'll have Boy Green on this Thursday. And we'll have ourselves a good time. But you guys have a great night, and I'll see you soon.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.